Have you ever been driving along, minding your own business, and several things happen? First, you notice some flashing lights behind you, which alerts you to the fact that you may have been exceeding the speed limit, and then it occurs to you you also have a gun with you. What do you do? This is Alan with Quarter Horse Arms in Snow Camp, North Carolina, and let's talk about that. So you've been speeding or whatever, and a police officer pulls you over, and you've got a gun with you. What do you do? Well, I need you to keep in mind that the law enforcement officer is going into one of the two most dangerous situations they can be in. One is traffic stops, which hopefully doesn't happen to you, and the other is domestic disputes. Now, possibly you could have both while in the car at the same time. I certainly hope not. However, in North Carolina and in many states, your concealed carry permit is directly tied to your driver's license. So when they run it, it's going to show that you are a concealed carry permit holder. And you have some options that you need to do when you're pulled over. So, smart thing is obviously when you see the lights, pull over where you can as soon as you can. Number 2, turn off the engine. Number 3, if it uses keys, put them up on the dash. Number 4, keep your hands visible. And number 5, the most important thing is when the police officer approaches you, tell them that you have a weapon. So, having said all that, let me give you a quick disclaimer before I continue. Those are just smart things. You can do what you want, and you may want to look and find out what the laws are regarding concealed carry in your state. However, this is just smart. Quite frankly, there was a guy several years ago who was killed by a police officer during a traffic stop, where the officer said, "Don't move," and then "Give me your license." So the guy reached for his license and got shot in the head. You don't want that happening to you because, that's a life-ending event, and, it probably hurts quite a bit. All right, so you've got a gun with you. There are lots of possibilities. If you are open carrying, the gun needs to be visible on the seat or someplace that someone walking up to the car can see it. That's just smart. If you're concealed carrying and the gun, let's say, is sitting on your hip or wherever, and the police officer or whatever deputy or state trooper comes up and says, "I need your ID," and you say, "Excuse me, my wallet is in my right back pocket," for those of you that are foolish enough to be right-handed. And that's also where I'm carrying my gun. And at that point, you need to follow the law enforcement officer's directions exactly. They may say, "Keep your hands on the steering wheel," and they may go to the opposite side of the vehicle so they can watch you reach for the wallet and hope that's the only thing that comes out. And that's just smart on their part, and it's smart on your part. Okay, so having said that, if the gun's on the seat, that's fine. If you have a concealed carry permit and the gun's on the seat, that's fine. If the gun is on your person and cannot be seen, which includes being on your hip while you're driving and the officer comes up and cannot see the gun, that is now a concealed weapon. Also, having the gun in your glove compartment Down here, a lot of people call them truck guns. Are they legal? Yeah, it depends. If you have a concealed carry permit, the gun is concealed and it's in the glove compartment, so that's fine. If you have the gun secured in a lockbox in your car, like a handgun safe, that is legal as well because it's secured and not readily accessible. So what that means is the officer, once they know where the gun is, they don't need to worry so much about you trying to get the safe open to get your gun and put the law enforcement officer at greater risk. So plain and simple, shut the engine off. Keep your hands visible. If you've got keys, put them on the dash. I usually put my flashers on. I shouldn't say usually. I haven't been pulled over that often. And then identify that you have a weapon if in fact that's the case. And lastly, smile. Put the window down. And to quote my concealed carry firearms instructor, who is the firearms instructor for North Carolina State Police, the reason he said smile is, he goes, it's hard to get shot in the face while you're smiling at somebody. Now, he could be wrong. Better off not finding out the hard way. All right, but at any rate, the officer may ask you to hand the gun over. They may give you specific directions on how to do so. Just comply. The other situation you may wind up in is, since your license is and your permit are linked together on the computer system, what happens if you run into a law enforcement officer who's having a bad day? It happens. They could be looking for someone who is armed, and they may say right off the bat, do you have a gun with you? Because they saw it on their computer that you're a permit holder. It's a quick answer, yes or no. It's that simple. In terms of do they have the right to suddenly go search your car? That's a question for an attorney. That's not something I want to deal with. However, as a concealed carry handgun permit holder, I'd like to live a long and healthy life and not have it cut short because I caused somebody else to do something stupid. You never know what's going on a traffic stop. Out where I live, it's not uncommon for them to set up like registration checkpoints for the vehicles. And at one point I did get stopped at one of those, and they said, do you have your license? And I said, yeah, it's in my backpack. And while I was ruffling through it, the police officers, one on either side of the car, the one on the passenger side suddenly appeared, and the one behind suddenly appeared, and they all had their hands on their guns. So clearly they were looking for somebody, and, I wasn't it. So they were like, no problem. They'd already run the registration, and they go, okay, he's good, and sent me on my way. But these guys clearly had their blood pressure up for some reason. And if you're carrying a gun, don't give anyone a reason to question that. So just be smart. And you could be smarter than me and just avoid getting pulled over altogether, but, things happen. This is Alan with Quarter Horse Arms, just sharing a few thoughts with you on getting stopped while carrying a gun. You can email at info@quarterhorsearms.com. You can check out our website at quarterhorsearms.com. You can call or text to 919-808-6480. And I'll talk to you in another upcoming podcast. In the meantime, you guys have a great day and shoot safely.